Good morning. My name is Diane Huslin. I'm the proud principal of Eastlake High School. And it's my tremendous honor, privilege to welcome you to the 10th Annual Girls STEAM Conference. I just cannot speak highly enough of the students and the work that they did to put on this conference. And so they should be tremendously proud of each other, right? Okay. So this year's theme is X Marks the Spot, Finding Hidden Treasures. And you're going to hear from a lot of inspiring speakers, and you're also going to get to see some wonderful demonstrations. So again, I'd like to welcome you all and enjoy the day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jackson. I am the TitanBot Outreach Director, and I'm going to be one of your co-hosts today.
Hi everyone, my name is Carolyn and I am this year's Impact Manager, and I am also one of the co-hosts for this event today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lily Bertrand, and I am the Eastlake High School SWENext President, and I will also be your co-host today.
Planning and hosting today's event, we have two of the major STEAM clubs on Eastlake High School's campus.
Both working closely together throughout the year in order to engage students via a variety of educational opportunities while fostering an interest in careers related to science, technology, arts, engineering, and mathematics.
The ultimate goal of our conference is to provide our attendees with the skills, resources, and confidence they need to pursue STEAM careers, fulfill their passions, and make a difference.
First, we have Eastlake High School's robotics team, TitanBot, an FRC, FIRST Robotics Competition, team run entirely by students. Besides building robots for our annual competitions, we aim to use our resources and create an impact in our local and global communities by fostering inclusive educational development in science, technology, engineering, art, and math for all kids of all ages.
Furthermore, FIRST allows students to expand their skill set by creating leadership opportunities in which both technical and soft skills are developed throughout their high school career.
And then so SWENext is an international program for high school students supported by the Society of Women Engineers at the collegiate and professional levels. It's a program where girls can begin exploring and preparing for college and a career in engineering.
For our 10th annual Girls Inspiring Real Leadership in STEAM conference, we at TitanBot and SWENext have invited 5 professionals as our selected speakers from diverse backgrounds to talk about our theme, X Marks the Spot, Discovering Hidden Stories, and offer insight on how a career in STEAM might look.
With our speaker presentations, we hope to expand your understanding of STEAM professional development and offer guidance for your future educational experiences. With that being said, we would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Ms. Sahana Kumar.
So Ms. Sahana Kumar is a second-year medical student at UC San Diego School of Medicine with a clinical interest in surgery and a research interest in the utility of 3D printed and VR tools to improve patient education and clinical decision-making. She is an honors graduate from the Johns Hopkins Whiting School of Engineering with a degree in biomedical engineering. While at Johns Hopkins, Ms. Kumar worked on neurobehavioral inpatient care with the Kennedy Krieger Institute, led 3D printing healthcare startup Health 3D, and worked with the Center for Hope. She is a passionate advocate for hands-on extracurricular STEM education and has engaged in STEM service across San Diego County as well as throughout Maryland. Ms. Kumar is a proud member of the SWE San Diego Outreach Team, where she loves getting to spread STEM engagement to students for all ages. She is a former FRC team member, which inspired her love for science. Thank you, Ms. Kumar.
Okay, hi, technical difficulties. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm actually going to start by asking y'all a few questions about you because I want to get a sense for who you are, and then we'll get into my talk. All right, who in here is a middle schooler? Raise your hands. Awesome, and who are high schoolers? Okay, wonderful. Got a nice diverse group here. And my third question, and maybe my most important, who here knows what you want to be when you grow up? Incredible. Okay. I'm going to talk you through a little bit of my journey of getting to where I am today. And it's going to be very, like, twisty turny. And I guess the entire point of what I'm trying to tell you is that it can be. You're allowed to have a twisty turny journey. You're allowed to have a journey that doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. So when I was in middle school, like a lot of you who just raised your hands, I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I grew up. And I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And all of y'all are looking at me and saying, well, we know you're in medical school. You just put that up. So clearly this was a very simple, easy journey. You knew what you wanted to be and you got there. And that would have been very true, except when I was in 9th grade, I joined a FIRST Robotics team. How many people here are on a FIRST Robotics team? That's a decent amount. So I joined a FIRST Robotics team, and I didn't really expect to like it. I joined it, and I thought, I'm not really going to love this. I'm doing this because, like, everyone at my school joined a FIRST Robotics team. It was just, like, a thing to do. I think our team had, like, 80 members, of which, like, maybe 20 were active. So I thought I was going to kind of be one of those 60. I didn't think I'd be super interested in it. And then I joined it, and I loved it. I fell in love with this idea that you could have this 120-pound robot running all over the room, and it could do cool things, and I could make it do cool things. Like, it was bigger than me, heavier than me, and I could control it, and that was insane to me. It was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. Maybe I don't want to be a doctor. And then, do we have slides up, possibly? Oh, incredible. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, and then I got an internship over the summer. And I got an internship at UCSD, and I got it mostly through, like, sheer force of will. I emailed, I think, 100 people. And one person got back to me, and they were like, okay, I guess you can work in our lab. So 14-year-old me, like, got my parents to pick me up and take me to UCSD that first day of the summer. And I walk on in, and I go up to the floor where I was supposed to be. And I walk into the lab, and they say, okay, here's the work you're going to be doing. Wait, how old are you? And I say, oh, I'm 14. And they say, you can't do this. There's explosives here. Like, you need to leave. You can't be here. So they're, like, walking me out, and, like, another professor sees me in the hallway with this woman, and she was like, yeah, I can't take her this summer. Like, you didn't tell me that she was 14. She didn't tell me she was 14. No one said she was 14. I can't have a 14-year-old in the lab. And so I ended up working with this other professor who saw me and took pity on me. And I was 3D printing hearts. At this point, I had taken AP Physics and AP Computer Science, none of which had taught me anything about what a heart was. So I was really a little bit out of my depth here. I looked up some Khan Academy videos, I think. They told me something about the heart had 4 chambers, and that was about all I knew. And then they gave me a bunch of CT scans, and they were like, oh, you can, like, make this into that. And I just stared at them, I think. So it took me a minute. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I read a lot of books. I understood very little. But by the end of the summer, I had one 3D printed heart that looked like that, and a whole bunch of, like, misshapen, mangled messes in front of me. And so I guess the first thing that I want to tell you, and the first thing that this taught me, is that I was capable of doing more things than I thought I could, just because I really was, like, too dumb to think that I couldn't do it. I walked in and I had no biology experience, and I said, well, I'm sure this can't be that difficult. And so I read a lot of things, and it took me a lot longer than it would have taken someone with a PhD or like a biology class under their belt. But I got there. And that's the first thing that I would tell you, is that you should never go into a situation thinking that you don't know enough, you're underqualified, you're underprepared, because most of the time you can get the information you need to get a job done. You are capable of learning more and learning faster than you think you can. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, so the next summer, I came back to that lab, and I was like, hi, I'm still a child with no biology experience. Will you have me again? And they said, well, you did okay last summer. Like, you didn't break anything in the lab. You didn't cause too much of a mess. You may come back. So I returned to that lab. And at this point, I had a few more classes. There's still no biology class on there. At our school, you could not take biology until you were in 11th grade. So there's still no biology class on there, but I came back. And they said, Sahana, we think that you should expand your horizons and you should do something different. I said, but I really like 3D printing, and I think that this is what I want to do. And they said, no, you're too young to know what you want to do. You should try something different. So I did. I tried to work on cell signaling pathways. It looked like that. that does not make any more sense to me today as a medical student than it did at the time. But I read a lot of papers, and basically those papers said, hey, in cells you have this protein that activates this thing, and that means something for glucose uptake or something. I didn't understand it, but I did it. And what I learned was that I really did not like biology. And that put me in somewhat of a conundrum because, like we discussed, in middle school, I was really sure I wanted to be a doctor. And I did this, and I was like, well, this is biology. I think I hate this. And so my lab director sat me down, and she said, Sahana, have you thought about engineering? And I said, no, never. My parents are engineers. And that's gross, because they do it. So I immediately said, no, I cannot be an engineer. My parents are engineers. Can't do it. Couldn't be me. Can't go after this. And they said, well, we think you should really think about it because you don't like biology. And I said, well, maybe that has some merit. And I did really like physics, and physics is probably something like engineering, right? So that was when I decided to be an engineer. In 10th grade, I did this project. I decided I didn't like biology and I wanted to be an engineer. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, incredible. My junior year, I went back to that lab and I was like, will you take me again? And they were like, yes, but do you want to go somewhere else? And I said, of course I want to go somewhere else. I would like to travel and not be around my parents for a summer. My parents are really lovely people. I was just a rebellious teenager. But I said, I don't want to be around my parents for the summer. I would love to do this. And so they sent me up to Stanford. I was very lucky. My godparents live in Palo Alto. I stayed with them for the summer. It was great. I ate lots of incredible food, and I went to Stanford every day. I had finally taken a biology course. This is important. I really enjoyed that biology course. The teacher was terrible, but I liked the course because I felt smart in it. And I would go to lab every single day, and I worked on pulmonary arteries. Who knows what a pulmonary artery is? You want to tell me? Yeah, incredible. It's the artery that carries blood. So arteries always go away from the heart. Arteries carry blood from the heart to the lungs. Incredible. I didn't know that at the time, to be clear. So you're a step ahead of me. But I looked it up. I found that out. And I did more 3D printing work. I made 3D models of lung arteries. And I did some coding to figure out like what their sizes were. I'm still not entirely sure why that was important, but apparently it was. That's what the lab told me. And I loved it. I fell in love with this idea that coding and biology could intersect in this really cool way, and it could actually influence patient outcomes. They told me about all kinds of diseases that I only vaguely understood, but I was really, really interested in this idea of disease states. And I looked back to my 9th grade research, and I said, well, I was also really interested in those disease states. And I went, well, I like coding. I love robotics. Still was on the robotics team. That was great. I love robotics. I love biology. I should be a bioengineer. And so I applied to college for either electrical engineering or bioengineering. You're asking where did the electrical engineering come from? I think it had something to do with robotics. I'm still not entirely sure. But like I applied to a bunch of places under both of these things. I got into Johns Hopkins for bioengineering, and I thought, okay, this is the way to go. Next slide, please. The summer after that, someone said, my parents sat me down and said, okay, you're doing bioengineering. Actually, we don't think this is a good idea because we're not sure you'll get a job. And I said, oh, this is very stressful. And so I did a summer internship in nanoengineering. I made batteries for a whole summer. I hated that. This is just to say you should perhaps not listen to everyone who tells you you shouldn't do this thing for X, Y, and Z reason. You should maybe just do the things you like. Because otherwise, like me, you will spend a summer making batteries and hate every second. Next slide, please. And then I still got told you should code more. There's jobs in coding right now. And so I did another summer project at Carnegie Mellon University. This was during COVID, so I was doing this all remotely. The internship was in autonomous warehouse planning. Anyone have an idea what that is? Who thinks that sounds interesting? Raise your hands. It was not, I can tell you that, for me. Emerald might like it. I had a terrible time. Okay, and by this point, I was kind of like sold on the idea of like maybe I should stop doing the things that people tell me to do and I should start doing the things that I find interesting. Next slide, please. I joined a 3D printing company called Health 3D. It was a small startup based out of Hopkins because I looked back on my high school times and I really thought about it and I thought I loved 3D printing when it was applied to healthcare technology. I joined that team. We printed a ton of face shields because Hopkins had no PPE. which was really, really necessary because we were in the middle of a pandemic. We also started printing skulls, and I fell in love with that. I got to talk to patient families. I got to explain to them what their kid's condition was. As you can imagine, for a parent, it's really, really scary if your baby's born with a medical condition and you might not like have any medical background at all. You might be like me as a child and have no biology class that you've taken ever. And that can be really, really scary. And I fell in love with this idea that we could 3D print tools to help out kids. At the same time, I needed a job that paid me money because I like shopping a little bit too much. And I thought that I should probably start trying to fund that. And so, next slide, please. I got a job at Kennedy Krieger Institute, which is a hospital that helps kids with any kind of intellectual disability, or they're high on the autism spectrum, or they have a brain injury. They're basically having behaviors that are kind of inappropriate for normal life, whether that's they're hitting people, they're making verbal aggressions, they are pouring liquids everywhere, which can be really dangerous if you pour boiling water or a chemical on yourself. So I helped those kids. I loved that job. That job became my entire life for a year. I worked 20 hours a week. I was in school full time, and I loved every single thing about it. I loved the patients. And sometime around then, I realized, I like coding, but I love people. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life, is work with people. And so I decided to go to medical school. Again, we went back, full circle, came back to that. Next slide, please. And now I'm in medical school, and I get to do all of the things that I've always loved. I get to still work on that 3D printing element. That's the type of research I do. But I also get to work with kids. I get to give presentations to kids like you, and also to my fellow medical school peers on things that I'm interested in. I get to do the work that I've always wanted to do. And so the only thing that I want to leave you with today, next slide, please, is that like finding your mark is one of those things that people tell you constantly in high school to do. Find your passions, find the things you love. And the best advice that I can give you is that the only way that you're ever going to find the things that you want to do is by being brave and getting out there, and by not letting anyone else's opinions define what you want to do. Not because they don't know anything, but because you know you best. I think professional development organizations are pretty incredible with that. I am a part of SWENext now. I love it. I think that it gives you a lot of opportunities to connect with people who do different things. I have gotten almost everywhere that I've ever gotten in my life by trying things really boldly and then dropping them the second I hated them. Don't be afraid to drop something. You can drop an activity. You can drop a class. Life will move on. I promise. You're allowed to do things and hate them. I have hated more than half of the things I did, but the things that I loved made up for them. And I would never have found the things I loved if I hadn't dropped the ones I hated. Yeah, I know I'm a little over time. Thank you all so much for your time. I'm wishing you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. That was an awesome presentation. Uh, we're going to be taking a small intermission to play a quizzes game. It's similar to Kahoot. Could you all take out your phones and connect to the game? For those who don't know how quizzes works, you'll scan the QR code that will show on screen, and please enter your full name. Cool thing, the prize for this, if you get first place, we're going to be giving out a $50 cheesecake voucher, or a Cheesecake Factory voucher. So try to aim for that first place. We'll be getting started soon. Can you bring up the QR code? There's no QR code? Okay. There's no QR code, so you're going to go up to that link and you're going to enter the code right there. Please put your full first and last name, and then we'll meet up with you guys later on. That way we can get your information to mail out the voucher.
Google AI helps you find your best
Are we waiting on
customers.
anybody? No? All right. think we could probably. Oh, all right. We'll give it another minute. I think we could get started now. All right. Yeah, let's get it going. So it's going to ask you questions on your phone. Okay, I see you guys. It's kind of switching around. Chloe Clements first. Alright, we're going to be turning off the game in about a minute or so. Just have the conference moving. But it looks like Chloe Clements, you've really got. Oh! You've gotten some shifting. We'll end it, say, in another minute or so. I know. A lot of shuffling here. Alright. Okay, I think we can probably end it now. We'll see how it lands. Good job, Alana, Michelle, and Amelia. Where's our winners? Oh. Where, Amelia, we're gonna be having that voucher out to you. If you could come find one of us, and we can get that out to you. Good job.
Okay, so the way this voucher is going to work is we're going to get the gift cards shipped in about a week or so. So you're going to have to write down a few things onto this little paper right here, and then we'll get them shipped out to you, okay? So come find one of us, and we'll get you set up.
So our next speaker is Emerald Trejo. Miss Emerald Trejo is a Hispanic woman who currently works as a software engineer at Lockheed Martin. Miss Trejo has a master's in computer science and is finishing her last few classes, obtaining her second master's degree in engineering management with an emphasis in systems engineering. She is passionate about volunteering her time to the community so she can establish a strong foundation for her 5-month son, Theodore. Ms. Trejo currently serves as the FY25 Society of Women Engineers Outreach co-chair and was recognized as the FY24 SWENext Volunteer of the Year.
Thank you so much. I'm going to hide behind this podium because I thought we were going to sit down. So because of the heat, I wear shorts. So, all right, awesome. So yeah, they said it. I am just finishing up my last courses for my master's degree. I live here locally in Bonita. And yeah, next slide. Yeah, so this is just a little bit more about me. Born and raised in San Diego. I'm also a military spouse. So my husband's in the U.S. Navy. Do we have any military kids in the room? Wow, look a lot. Good job. You know, kudos to all you guys because it's not easy being having a military parent. So, you know, thank you for coming out today. And so talking about my STEM career journey. So I want to go over what I was able to go through for my journey, but I also want it to be applicable to you guys, to give you guys some inspiration. So Sahana said it best. You know, it's going to be twists and turns, like your whole career. When I went to college, I'm a first generation in my family to get a degree. Both my parents are immigrants. And so I went to UCSD and got my bachelor's in psychology with an emphasis in neuroscience and behavior. But it was one class when I was getting my bachelor's that changed my life, and that was a Java programming class. And that is what inspired me to go back to school for my master's degree in computer science. And right after I got my master's, I got my first job working at a local bank company here at Guild Mortgage. And then from there, I was able to join a FANG company. So the big, you know, Bay Area, Facebook, Apple. I was able to be the first military spouse to be accepted into their program for a technical program manager role. And so that was really inspiring to be like the first female accepted into this like program that was created years ago. And then COVID hit. And then I realized I didn't really like the FANG company because I told myself it was my dream to be a part of a FANG company. No, it wasn't. I wasn't vibing with it. And then I tried a startup company, thinking, okay, startups, it's going to be crazy, you know, Silicon Valley, everything's going to be intense. Well, it was. And that's actually what kicked off my journey to Lockheed because it took me 3 years to get into Lockheed Martin. Hundreds of applications. I was at the point where I was applying every day because if I saw a new role get published, I was, you know, applying. And that's kind of just giving you the just want to just let you know it's not going to be easy to always get your first opportunity. And as many times as I wanted to give up because it was so hard to get my foot in the door, just keep trying. You know, just like Sahana sent her hundreds of emails out, it's just that one single chance that you need to get your foot in the door. And I haven't stopped, you know, trailblazing my career at Lockheed Martin. Yeah, so these are just some highlights from my journey. And so I just kind of curious, does anybody know or heard of the company Lockheed Martin? Raise your hand. A lot of you guys have known it. Okay, next question. How many of you guys have seen Top Gun Maverick? Okay, some more of you guys. Okay, so I just want to, you know, play the video.
In our story, we find Maverick pushing the envelope of human performance in aviation.
Control, this is Dark Star. How do you read? Dark Star control loud and clear.
Working in partnership with Lockheed Martin and Skunkworks, we were able to create Dark Star, our full-scale prototype for the film.
One last ride.
We based the design on the fastest aircraft, the SR-71, which Lockheed built in the 1960s. The team wanted to go beyond that. We integrated their skunkworks designers with our designers on the film side.
We lowered it a little bit. It also made it look a little bit sleeker and faster. The cockpit was mind-blowing. Like the intel of where everything would be for a pilot. You really wanted to believe that it was real. Through their design team, we learned how to make the plane look angry, mean, insanely fast.
It felt like something that could truly fly. The partnership with Lockheed Martin was invaluable. There's no way we could have done Dark Star the way we did without their help.
We wanted that moment in the Dark Star flight. Come on! Just feel not only command of flight, but the beauty of flight.
He's the fastest man alive.
I don't know about you guys, but every time I watch that video, I get goosebumps. And it's just an amazing movie. And that's when I knew that I found my calling, is because I can just go to, like, what I do has a deeper purpose. And you just find out what you love. And I went to a startup, I went to a fan company, and I realized it wasn't what I wanted. And I just found my next adventure. And that's why I wanted to bring up to you guys, like, I'm a software engineer at Lockheed. I code for a living. It's fun, amazing. I love it. But it wasn't easy finding this is what I wanted to do. And I also want to share with you guys, what Lockheed does. We don't only just, develop planes. We do a higher mission.
In our story, we
with my husband being in the military, I don't serve in that capacity, but everything I build at my company protects him. And I feel like I'm doing my civil duty by giving back to my country by making sure that he's safe. So this next slide is going to come up, is going to show you what Lockheed does. And, it might just spin off something in your head that says, you know what, I haven't thought about doing something like that in the future. But it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. Because like I said, I didn't even know what I wanted to do until after I graduated with my bachelor's. So you can play.
At Lockheed Martin, we see things differently. We look for innovation and see how it can move the world. Because our mission means more than just protecting tomorrow. It's about propelling it forward. So we use the power of data to build powerful connections. Utilize AI to bring our technology to the fight. And look for answers in places others would never think of. Beyond what's possible, we go past that every day. Take a closer look at Lockheed Martin, and you'll find a team of innovators that see things from a different point of view. But our mission is always clear. At Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, so this is just kind of what my experience has been at Lockheed. I went from developing front-end applications like websites for internal use to developing code for ships that are going to be out in the fleet. And I also worked on hypersonics programs where I was able to help with the engineering of the missile systems that launch off ships. And then right now I'm working on DevSecOps, so I'm developing pipelines for virtual machines that are going to be deployed to secret environments that only certain people get access to. So there's just so many different things that you could do at my company, and I'm still figuring out what I want to do, to be honest. And I'm just having a blast for that. Next slide. So this is my pitch for outreach. I'm the co-chair this year. We would love to see more participants come out, volunteer, get to know all of you, and just develop connections, networking. You might be reaching out to me in a few years saying, hey, Emerald, I want an internship at Lockheed. And I'll say, yeah, let's do it. Let's set you up. What do you want to work on? Planes, ships? So this is why it's so important to reach out to STEM. And then I'm almost at time, but I actually want to ask my phenomenal, incredible director from Lockheed Martin to come up to the stage. He was able to volunteer his time to come speak or just network with you all. If he's not here at home, he's either in Australia or he's in Dubai traveling and doing such incredible things. But he's a huge mentor for me at Lockheed Martin, and he's such an inspiration, and he just really loves to support the STEM community. So can we get a round of applause for Mr. Eduardo Gillison?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time to be here with you all today. I think one of the things is we don't do videos, we don't make rockets and ships like that. What we do is we hire great people. And I have a great mentor here because in Lockheed Martin, we really invest in our people. It's about people, and we have the best in the world. For me, I'm in a mentoring relationship here with Emerald, and she's reverse mentoring me. She's reminding me about what is most important in our business. And all of you spending time here today is what is really most important. I want to thank the people who are putting this on. What you're doing today is really tough. You see them running around, but they'll remember this for the rest of their lives. So I hope you will as well. But today, take the time to talk to all of these great speakers. Take the time to learn from them. And I want to thank you, Emerald, for what you do for our business, for our country, and especially for how your family sacrifices. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Miss Trejo. That was really, really cool. Okay, so now we're gonna go into our first raffle. So during registration, everyone was given 2 raffle tickets. One of them is gonna be for our final prize. So we'll announce that at the end of the conference. So we're gonna be announcing our first 2 raffle winners. So our first raffle is going to be, drum roll.
Make sure you listen to your number or look at your number and listen closely. 2055839. Yeah?
Yay, okay, come up. Yeah. So you'll be winning a Starbucks gift card. Come up. Woo! 2 Starbucks $10 gift cards. Yeah. All right, then we have another one. Yeah. Okay, Kira, can you give
Another
her the...
drum roll.
Wait, Kira, give her the... No, both.
2055821. Do we have another winner? Yeah?
Woo!
All right.
This is going to be a Crumble gift card. Yippee. Okay. All right. Now we're moving on to our next speaker.
Yeah, we'll be having 2 more raffles, or 3 more raffles after this, one of which being our largest one. Yeah, so now... All right. Our next speaker is Miss Tammy Ward. Tammy Ward embodies the mantra, embrace life boldly. During her 24-year career with the United States Navy, she battled adversity to become one of the first women to helm a nuclear aircraft carrier, became a master trainer, and completed 2 tours in the Middle East. Now a retired boatswain mate chief, Miss Ward is proudest of building an equally courageous and compassionate corps by guiding sailors towards developing habits that enhance themselves as much as the overall missions. In 2016, Miss Ward shifted her focus towards entrepreneurship once she received her bachelor's degree in social psychology and human behavior, as well as a life coaching certificate. Miss Ward helps individuals uncover their hidden talents and harness their own strengths, all while they're discovering their own way to lead life. Can we have Mrs. Ward to the stage? Thank you. All right.
Hello, hello, hello. Can I get a hello, hello, hello? Yes, you engineers, you steam elevated. Give me a second while it just goes down. Am I gonna have to hold it? There we go. Oh, yes. Okay, is that good? You guys can hear me from here? Excellent, excellent. Hello, my name is Tammy Ward. It's such a good time to be here today. I just want to thank you. And if we could, just for a moment, give everyone who's had a hand in this, especially the numero uno who started this, just give a round of applause. I mean, it's amazing. If you think about all the things that go on in life, it's amazing that you guys are here and you continue to put this thing on. This thing's going to fall constantly, isn't it? All right, here we go. I'm just going to hold it. Okay, so just going with the X marks the spot, I'm curious if how many of you, doing a mark with your arm here, How many of you have ever seen something, been at school, even in your community, and thought, I have a better idea for that? Who of you here has ever done that? Thank you. Or maybe you said, I can make this better. How many? A lot of you. Yes, I love it. Or maybe you were just sitting there thinking, I have a super cool idea for this, but we're too nervous to share it with others. Anybody here? Yeah, it happens all the time, doesn't it? But I want you to think about this for a second. Being or doing something better is comparison. You're comparing yourself to what has already been done. So instead of striving to be better than others, whether it's your neighbors, your friends, your team members, even your parents, aim to become greater than you ever imagined yourself to be. So instead of better, become greater, right? Better than you even think your mind could even possibly get you there. Because that's where you go in life. So set your sights on evolving beyond the expectations placed upon you. Because this is truly where the inner leader inside of all of you will be created. Because look, being a leader doesn't mean you get to boss people around. It's not about you do this, you got that, you go over here. It's not about that. It means you get to inspire others, help them be their best selves, and make a positive difference in the world. So don't be afraid to speak up and share your ideas. You never know what amazing things you might accomplish through your very own inspiration and thoughts. And today I am lucky and honored to share with you how I harness the potential within myself to become a great leader in both my personal and professional life. So look, I'm not going to BS you here. My journey to leadership got off on a very bumpy start. When my parents divorced when I was 6, I bounced between various households, each with different rules and expectations. I also had to navigate around 6 brothers and 7 sisters. Think about that. And I had a twin sister. Where was I going to go here? You could imagine that anyone can get lost in the shuffle, just how you might feel sometimes when you're in school or when you're in a team. You get a little lost in the shuffle. But I'd say one of the most challenging moments I had growing up was having to repeat 5th grade. Yeah, I failed it. Bam, done. I was struggling with reading, math, and written instruction. Only later as an adult did I discover I was dyslexic. How many here? Dyslexic? Wow. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for sharing. It's difficult, isn't it? You got to rewrap your mind around things. Talk about a setback and a revelation all at the same time. But this constant reminder of academic setback fostered deep feelings of shame and isolation within me. And I know we've all felt that at times, where we're just like, oh, I'm just going to hide here. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to be a part of that. We begin to isolate ourselves. And those same feelings grew more and more after my family refused to raise a gay child. So at 15, I emancipated my family. Basically, I went to a court of law and I divorced them at the age of 15. Now, I was juggling several jobs at the same time. I was a grocery clerk, I was a local nighttime bank cleanup crew, and I was also the nighttime janitor at my very own high school. Could you imagine homecoming? And then they're like, hey, where's the toilet paper? And I'm like, over here. You know, it was difficult to be able to do that. But yet, I still graduated. Yes, thank you. And I'm standing in front of you today to show you that your foundation, is only made stronger by the challenges you face, the decisions you make, and the mistakes that lead your individual power. Unlock your leadership potential by embracing your very own unique strengths. Perhaps you're a strategic thinker or a team builder. Maybe you're the one that can see it all before it even begins. Whatever your superpower is, own it. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to leading. Just be you, amplified. Another crucial element of leadership is being able to envision a future. So it's one of those things where you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I need to create this one thing. And so at nighttime, you're just thinking about it in your head, you're envisioning it, and you're envisioning it. Well, I remember when I was 12 years old and I was sitting on the couch, and right after Saturday morning cartoons, I saw this commercial, and there was this guy standing there, and he's pointing to this huge naval ship, and he says, this is what I drive during the weekday. And then he points to his red convertible Mustang, and he goes, but this is what I drive during the weeknights. And I was like, I am sold. Where do I sign up? It was such a massive beast. I kind of thought at the time, okay, a naval ship. I'm assuming it's got a lot of mechanics, gadgets, gizmos that I know nothing about. But that's okay, because I knew it was going to be my job. So in 1995, I know that sounds like forever, I turned 18 and I enlisted in the United States Navy. But imagine this, it wasn't until 1993 when women were even allowed in the combat field, even on combat ships such as a nuclear aircraft carrier. So I became a bosun's mate, and I seized the opportunity and made history as one of the first 6 women to helm a nuclear aircraft carrier. Basically, I drove it. That's basically what that means. Breaking into the male-dominated field and paving the way for others to follow. So a bosun mate, what we do on the ship is we will drive the ship. We do the underway replenishments for the ships. We'll bring on stores for the ship. We just do a lot of major safety things that scare us to death. But my 24-year Navy journey was fueled by a powerful formula. And here it was. I had clear goals. I had achievable steps. I'm not saying steps that oh, I can always do that. Achievable ones that you take one step at a time. And I had unwavering self-belief. And above all, I showed up. I showed up to whatever I was doing, even if I didn't even know what I was doing. I showed up anyway. I showed up to volunteer. I showed up to ask questions. I just showed up. And my time in the military was like being in a super and sometimes crazy club. But before I could lead my team to victory, before I became a leader, I had to figure out what made me tick. I mean, what gets me pumped up in the morning? And think about you for a second. What gets you pumped up in the morning? I mean, besides coffee and energy drinks. For me, it turns out being my own biggest cheerleader was the key. It was. I would dance in the morning. I would turn on some really great music. I would high five myself in the mirror. I would stand in my Wonder Woman pose. I mean, think about this. Scientifically, the Wonder Woman pose, if you stand there for 5 seconds, it literally changes the chemistry in your brain to make you feel like you are more powerful. And no, I'm not going to make you do it. That's okay. Maybe later. But once I found my superpower, I then could help my teammates find their own. It's like being a team coach, but instead of giving pep talks, I could shine a light on what made them tick as well. Because being a leader is like being the captain of a crazy ship. You've got to know your crew, like who's the best person with the electronics? What's their weakness? Who's going to be the person that looks at a ship and gets seasick? I mean, I definitely don't know if I'd want them on my team, but I know to give them some seasick medicine. It's about looking at them and saying, I can steer them in the right direction as long as I know who they are and I know who I am. But in all seriousness, leading by example is key. If you want your team to be awesome, you've got to be awesomer. And is that still a word? Awesomer? Is it? I think so. Okay, great. You got to be awesomer. So what does awesomer mean? It's not about fake it until you make it. How many of us have heard that? Fake it until you make it. Well, I want you to take that in your brain and throw it out the window, because from now on here on out, I want you to face it until you make it. Face every obstacle. Face everything that comes at you. Face every person. Face every technical thing that you're completing with until you feel that you have made it. Because listen, one time I was driving the John C. Stennis, that's just a nuclear aircraft carrier, and we were commencing flight operations. So here I was, I'm driving, I've got 20 people up on the bridge, we're commencing flight operation, it's raining cats and dogs, you can barely see, the windshield wipers are not really working, and all of a sudden this F-18 lost its mark, and it just boom, went off the bow of the ship. And as soon as the plane went over the front of the ship, the conning officer gave me a direct order to go hard right with the rudder, basically make a right turn, right, really, really fast. Now, what he was doing is, I understood, he wanted the plane to avoid the twin screw engines that were in the back, because if the plane hit those twin screw engines, that pretty much would have cost the government millions and billions of dollars to refix. So I understand what he was doing. Yet with my knowledge of the ship, my training and my self-belief, I knew that hitting that hard right rudder was going to possibly throw off people who were standing on the ship, the personnel, and maybe any other equipment that might have been on it. So instead, I kept straight on. I just really disobeyed his order. And that decision in that moment caused me to be reprimanded in front of 20 people, yelled at, screamed at for disobeying a lawful order from an officer. It sucked. It sucked hard for me to get back my confidence after that time. And it took them a long time to put me back on the helm. But remember, it's not about right or wrong. It's about growing and learning from every experience. Find your way to stand your ground of what you know, what you've learned, but not disrespectful to the point that you don't take accountability. Let me give you another example. When I was in Djibouti, Africa, we were taking on Somali pirates, not the R pirates, like the modern day pirates, the ones who, take take and steal people and steal drugs and take them everywhere, right? Well, my team, I had to lead a team of 300 to be able to stop those ships from going anywhere. And so I thought, how can I train these people? How can I train these people to be able to be confident in that? So I created hundreds of scenarios that helped the boat crew out in any tricky or sticky situations. So sometimes as they would be training, I would turn off communications. And they had to learn how to do things by signaling or by lights or shining a flashlight by SOS. There was one time I even took out the spark plug of the engine, so when they got out about 50 nautical miles, the engine just died and they were dead in the water. So they had to figure out how to get the boat and how to protect themselves all at the same time. This forced my team to think creativity and work together to solve problems. We didn't always get it right, but it helped us learn to rely on each other and think on our feet, because that's really important. So those training scenarios that I empowered the boat crews to operate with gave them confidence. It gave them the ability to face unexpected challenges, to get them through whatever they needed to get through. And all of you are an amazing adventure. I mean, amazing adventure. I mean, you're so young, you got your whole life. But I know you hear that all the time. To become the best versions of yourself. You'll definitely encounter some bumps along the way. But here's the cool thing. Those bumps, they're actually chances to discover how strong and unique you truly are. So don't be afraid of challenges. They're like nothing. Just go at them. They're like secret ingredients that help you grow into incredible leaders. So when you face a tough situation, grab the controls, steer it in a way that feels right for you and your team. Now, from here on this day forth, remember, face it until you make it, stand in your Wonder Woman pose, and discover your own unique leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ward. We will be having a 10-minute snack break for everyone to get a chance to stretch before our next speaker presentation. We have a variety of snacks on that side, and we will let you know when you have 5 minutes left of your break.
All right, everyone. This is about our 5-minute warning. After the next like 5-ish minutes, we're gonna ask you guys to come back to your seats. I see that there's kind of a line towards the snacks, so we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, just around 5 minutes ish. We'll let you guys know.
Okay, we'll be starting again really soon. So if you guys have your snacks, can you please like make your way to a table? We'll wait for everyone to get situated and then we'll get into our next speaker.
Are you introducing her?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. 20-second warning. I don't know. But it's a vibe. It's a give or take.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, we're making our ways back. I recommend sitting in the front for this next presentation. It's gonna be magical. Okay, I think we're about ready to start. So if everyone could please take a seat, we're gonna introduce our next speaker. Okay, so Miss Julie Rowland is a naval aviator who is deployed around the world flying helicopters. She's a member of the San Diego Leadership Alliance, League of Women Voters, Women's Foundation, Truman National Security Project, the Young Professionals Council of the San Diego LGBT Center, and serves on the Mission Bay Park Committee. Ms. Rowland currently attends the University of San Diego School of Law and is the president of the Public Interest Law Foundation. In her free time, she started Just Trying to Make Friends, a nonprofit with the mission to promote the arts and build community throughout a monthly variety show. The show has been voted a finalist in San Diego Reader Magazine's Best Neighborhood event in 2021, 2022, and 2023. And as a result of her efforts in 2022 and 2023, Ms. Rowland was named a finalist in San Diego Business Journal Magazine's Business Women of the Year in a nonprofit category. All right, let's give it up for Ms. Rowland.
All right, hey guys, how you doing? I don't know. Can we make some noise just for no reason at all? Like, give it up. And this time, let's make some noise for everyone you've heard speak, everyone who's put this together. Just give it up for everyone who's come before me. Thanks. All right, I got a timer going, and if I get to the end of my speech and there's more time, I will do magic tricks. Okay, so we're gonna move through this as quickly as possible. All right, we can go to the next slide. Great. Yeah, that's me. So, my mom, who died when I was 18, taught me everything I know. She was a poet and a yoga teacher and a lover of arts and a promoter of peace, and I grew up in a bubble full of artists and creative and curious joy, and we lived in Berkeley, California. I don't know if you have heard of Berkeley, but as a kid, my favorite hobbies were climbing trees and doing magic tricks. We can go to the next slide. Yeah. But by the time I was 17, still a tree climber and a magician, I applied to join the military. My mom may have been a peace-loving hippie, but she was also patriotic. She just believed that the highest form of patriotism includes a healthy dose of skepticism, criticism, and an outright dismantling of a country's systems. Somehow, I found a way to reconcile this form of patriotism with a desire to serve my country, and in short, that's what made the military seem like an appealing path. In high school, I stage managed the musicals, I practiced magic tricks in the mirror, and I read a lot of Harry Potter. But the Navy said the magic words to me. They said teamwork, leadership, service, adventure. They also said free college. And though it would not be on a Nimbus 2000, do you guys know Harry Potter? Is it? Okay, whatever. It was a big deal when I was a kid. But even though it wouldn't be on a Nimbus 2000, the Navy could teach me to fly. So my mom definitely worried that the Navy would squash my creativity, that I'd have to give up my silliness when I donned the uniform, but she did at least think that the Navy might teach me how to make my bed, so she was supportive. But as you can see here, this is when I swore in as a midshipman. It was 2 weeks before my mom died of cancer, but she watched proudly as I took my oath to join the Navy, and so when she died, this was the path that I was on, and I have been on it ever since. So we can go to the next slide. So like I said, I grew up in Berkeley, California. This is like hippie paradise. I was raised to be curious, creative, and to care about others, but I always wanted to serve and make a difference and change the world for the better. And I just don't think anyone expected a tie-dye wearing, tree-hugging class clown theater kid to end up in the military. But I did, and I became a helicopter pilot. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, just America. Next slide. Great. So I learned how to fire Hellfire missiles and torpedoes and rockets. My helicopter that I fly does search and rescue and logistical support. It does medical evacuations, but I can also hunt for ships, hunt for submarines, do electronic warfare. Go to the next slide. I don't even know if these. Yeah, we can click through a couple. Yeah, that's my helmet. Yeah, there's my name on the back. Great. And yeah, we'll see one more. Next. Cool. Yeah. All right, you'll stop right there. That's my name on a helicopter. Sick. Okay. I was pretty excited when they put that on there. Anyway, I am an aircraft commander and a tactical mission commander. And I do like how that sounds because I'm really just a dorky magician. So, yeah, that's cool. I don't think anyone I grew up with expected that I'd end up here. But guess who has performed magic and original songs on guitar all over the Navy, from flight school and my winging ceremony to aircraft carriers and destroyers and guided missile cruiser ships. That would be me. Okay, yeah, there I am. Yeah, that's me at my winging ceremony. So the day I officially became a pilot and got my wings of gold, I also performed an original song there. My sister took that picture and said, I think my sister is in a Christian rock band or something. But anyway, that was the first and I believe the last time anyone just like shredded guitar at a naval winging ceremony. But hopefully not officially the last, but I don't think anyone since me. Anyway, some might think that the military is not a place where a creative person can survive. But first of all, I'm my mother's daughter, and more importantly, I am me. So even when I wear a uniform, I'm myself. And it turns out, as much as the military values uniformity, they also value innovative thinking. They need leaders, so they need people who think for themselves. And the military is made stronger when all of its members bring who they are to the table. It's actually the best part, in my opinion, the true diversity. So anyway, I bring my own flavor of originality to the Navy, to the military. Sometimes they call it the silly-tary. We can see the next slide. Yeah, that's the day I got to wear a flight suit for the first time. Real professional. So I am the lieutenant who painted a mural on 2 different walls in my old squadron. And in 2021, I received a Naval Achievement Medal while wearing a wig and a fake mustache. Next slide, there we go. That's my boss giving me an award. Next slide. Yep, so one time I brought in animal noses I had from childhood, and all the pilots sat around a mission planning table wearing pig noses and beaks. America. Yeah, next slide. Great. So I'm always trying to come up with creative ways to improve morale. I've organized banquets, decorated common room spaces, led trivia nights on deployment. I've coordinated bonding events at every command I've ever been at. I've thrown themed parties and talent shows. But that being said, I still have craved even more creative outlets than the military, which is a professional organization, can offer. And so cut to 2019 when a friend and I created the Just Trying to Make Friends show. And this is a bit of that, but it began as a combined monthly comedy show in Los Angeles and a monthly variety arts show in San Diego, with the true purpose of making friends. Today, it is a nonprofit that, as mentioned, has been voted a finalist for Best Neighborhood Event for the past 3 years in San Diego Reader Magazine, and working towards our mission of promoting the arts and building community, we have featured hundreds of artists and entertained thousands of audience members in San Diego. Yeah, here's just some examples. Keep going through. Yep, that's cool. There I am. Yikes. Okay, that's Waldo Oswaldo. He's a professional dancing puppet man. Next. Great. And yeah, so I actually gave a TED talk about it a week ago, so that's kind of cool. Next slide. And we'll just go one more. Well, whatever. We'll just pause here. That kind of looks like me up here. Anyway, so I joined the Navy to serve my country. But there are a million ways to serve your country. And I think that adding more art to our communities is one of those ways. But also, whatever you're doing, adding art just to your life will make whatever other way you're contributing better, I think. I think it will increase your capacity for creative thinking and innovative thinking. It'll just sort of push you and challenge you, but also art in and of itself is an amazing venture. Frankly, just the more art in our lives, the more collective art that we all take part in, the better. And not just for us individually, not just for our performance in school or in business, but the better for us as a neighborhood, a city, a state, country, a world, Public art projects around the globe demonstrate real value. A mural on the side of a building can stimulate thinking. A sculpture in a town square can spark innovation. Going to see live music, going to see live theater, it can help combat social anxiety and isolation, and all of these things help create a sense of place, belonging, and identity. They increase civic engagement. But you guys are following. I'm an active duty lieutenant in the Navy. I've been a naval officer for almost 10 years, and I've deployed to the South China Sea and the Persian Gulf, and I'm really good at tracking submarines. And I might not be the first person you expect to be running a public arts project out of my backyard. But it doesn't matter. So that's one of my points is you don't have to be a professional artist or pursue becoming a professional artist to share your art. And you don't have to be an artist at all to help cultivate creative spaces. And you might like to paint or play guitar or sing in the shower. Or maybe you guys write the occasional short stories or poem in the margins. You doodle, you dance, you juggle, you take photographs. Or maybe you haven't yet found your favorite way to be creative yet. And maybe you're just a fan of the arts. But I definitely hope that to whatever extent you feel like getting creative or being just a part of those spaces, that you do it. Because we definitely need you, no matter who you are. I just hope that you express yourself. Anyway, basically, I'm passionate about a wide variety of things with seemingly little overlap, and I love to find ways to inject my skills from one field into the other. I use magic to break up the monotony of a day on deployment, and I use tactical mission planning skills when organizing an art show. I'm not your ordinary naval aviator, nor am I your ordinary magician. And as a woman, I am part of a minority that makes up about 7% of both lines of work. So I often have the opportunity to transcend expectations and approach problems from a unique perspective. And I'm sure that everyone in this audience has lots of ways that they identify as artists and athletes and engineers and readers and dancers. You guys belong to clubs and neighborhoods and families and religions, and you just have all kinds of passions and interests that define you. And also, none of them define you. You are you. You can belong to many boxes, and you can decide to belong to none. We all contain multitudes. The most important thing really is to just be yourself. And if you are being yourself and expressing yourself, then you are adding color to the world, a specific splash of your own shade of awesome. High school and middle school, those are tough times to feel different because I think a lot of people are frankly afraid to be totally themselves. At least I remember my middle and high school experience, and myself, my friends, we couldn't help but care a lot about what everyone else thought about us and what they wanted us to be like. And that's a lot of pressure to be what people want you to be. But if you take the time to get to know yourself, to be curious about yourself, and to be curious about others too, and open yourself up to discovering what makes everyone, including you, unique and special, then it's just a way more beautiful world. And sometimes it just takes a little patience. Because I work in a job where everyone literally wears a uniform and we have to leave a little bit of our individuality at the door to be a part of this greater mission. But that doesn't mean I can't still be me. It doesn't mean that every other person there can't still be themselves. But we sometimes just have to think outside the box a little bit more about how to wiggle. So that's really it, you guys. I tried to rush through that. The point is, be curious, be open, be yourselves. And with that, do you guys want to see a little, maybe one magic trick? Yeah, all right. Thanks so much. All right, can you guys hear me if I don't use that? Yeah. All right, this is a deck of cards. If you don't trust this deck of cards, then we turn this off. What? Alright, I'm gonna flip through the deck and anyone's gonna tell me when to stop, but then someone's gonna have to run up here and grab the card, okay? I'm not looking, I'm gonna flip through the deck, anyone tell me when to stop. Stop! Alright, that's where I heard it. So would someone come grab this card, please, and you're gonna show everyone? Show everyone, please. Everyone can see it. You all memorize it, don't tell me what it is. You all got it? Yes? Good. Has everyone seen it? Yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, we're gonna put it in the deck anyway. Okay, don't push it in all the way. I'm just kidding. Alright, have you guys ever seen a magician ask you to pick a card and then they find it? Yeah. Alright, you're gonna see it again. No, here's the thing. I'm gonna, with a new audience, I like to quickly gauge everyone's poker face. So I'm gonna ask a quick series of questions, and no matter what I say, I want you guys to respond with no. Okay? Okay. All right, so are we at Eastlake Middle right now? No. Are we at Eastlake High right now? No. Are we at Westlake High right now? No. So true, false, yes, no, doesn't matter, you're saying no. Okay, was your card black? No. So you all started clenching when I asked the tough questions? Don't even think about the question, you're just saying no. I think it is a black card, right? No. Okay, see, yeah, you confirmed that. Okay, is it a club? No. Is it a spade? No. I think I have a sense of what it is, but okay, is it a high card? No. A low card? No. In the middle? No. Not in the middle, it might be low, it might be high. Is it odd? No. Even? No. I think it's a face card. All right, I'm gonna rapid fire, just say no to everything. Jack? No. Queen? No. King? No. I think you guys relaxed when I got to king, which meant we had already passed it. Was it the queen of clubs? No. If it was the queen of clubs, please just give me like a round of applause. Was it? Was it the queen of clubs? Alright, I don't know if you guys are just lying to me because I asked you to say no, but here's the thing. If that wasn't a big enough reveal, I thought, let me really try to impress these folks with that big reveal. This is what we call a big reveal. Is that correct? That's it. You guys, a normal reaction to applause now. Yeah. Alright, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. That was awesome to finish up on a magic trick. That's awesome. All right. Once again, we'll be announcing some more raffle winners. So make sure that you have your tickets. You know what number you have, and we're gonna be doing another one. If we call your number, please come to the stage. What do you say we do on this one? Einstein. All right. For this one, we're gonna do. I think it's like 3 Einstein Bagels gift cards, or two. So listen up for your number. All right. Ready? 2 0 5 5 8 4 3. Do we have a winner? Anyone? Oh. Yeah? All right, come on up. All right. Okay, we've got one more, so keep looking. This one. Do you want to do McDonald's and privileges? Oh, keep shuffling. All right, just McDonald's. All right. For this one, we're going to be doing a. Okay. For this one, we're going to be doing a McDonald's gift card and one of these Girls Conference 10th anniversary pink T-shirts. So be ready. All right. Do we have one? All right. Listen up. 2 0 5 5 8 7 0. Woo! All right. Okay, I think this is the medium. Yeah, perfect. All right. All right. Woo.
Last but not least, we have our keynote speaker, Miss Gabriella Louisa, who graduated from Eastlake High School class of 2016 and is a former TitanBot, where she would create and lead our first girls conference. She received her bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from San Diego State University in the fall of 2020. Soon after receiving her degree, she began her career at Naval Information Warfare Center, Pacific supporting the Unmanned Maritime Vehicle Lab. Ms. Louisa has led several research and development projects which expand the applications and capabilities of remotely operated vehicles, autonomous underwater vehicles, and unmanned surface vessels. Each project pushes the boundaries of UMVs, providing new means of aiding the U.S. Navy warfighter.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, threw so many acronyms at you. That was rude of me.
Anyways, how are we feeling? Good? Yes? Excited? Hopefully a little bit motivated at this point. And I am just so excited to be here with you guys. As you heard a little bit in my little bio there, I came here to Eastlake Middle School. So I sat in these seats. I sat in this auditorium as a student, just like some of you here. And so it's just so wild to me to be back, a complete full circle moment for me. And so today, if I can have a slide, or can I have the title slide? Yeah, thank you. Today, I'm going to be talking to you all about navigating the path to your dream STEM career. But before I get into that, I want to share a little bit more about myself to you. I just think it's fair for me to introduce myself before I start throwing some advice at you. So next slide, please. So yeah, who the heck am I? So my name is Gabriela Loaiza, and I am a first-generation Latina. And like they said, I came here to Eastlake Middle and went to Eastlake High School. Grew up in the South Bay, San Diego native. And yeah, so I always had an interest for designing things, drawing. I was always drawing, building things, fixing things. So when I got to high school, I knew that I wanted to join the robotics team. So one of the first things I did was join Team 2543 TitanBot. Woo, yeah, you guys can cheer. Yeah, if you don't know, that's the fantastic people wearing all the blue shirts. And so this was a great experience for me. It really taught me a lot. And so then fast forward to senior year, we're in that season of everybody finding out what schools they're getting into, everybody talking about their degrees, what they want to study, and I confidently knew I wanted to study engineering. And I noticed that there wasn't many girls that wanted to study engineering. I noticed the lack of girls that were in my robotics team, and this didn't really sit well with me. So I brought it up to my girlfriends in TitanBot, brought it up to Mr. Faust, and with that encouragement, we put together our first girls conference in 2015. Yeah. Thank you. It was a really, really good success, and clearly it still is, thanks to the TitanBots carrying on this tradition and doing a fantastic job for the last 10 years. That is insane. Yes, yeah, cheer, definitely. Yeah, next slide. So then, after I finished at Eastlake High School, went on to study mechanical engineering at SDSU. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Studying engineering is hard. It is not easy. I could come up here and tell you it's pretty and roses and walk through it like a cakewalk, but it's not. It's hard, and I struggled. And sometimes there were moments that I doubted myself. I doubted if I would ever be able to be an engineer. Sometimes people would make comments when I was in school, and I remember they say things like, "You're struggling with this? Oh, just wait for thermodynamics. Ooh, you think this is hard? Just wait for differential equations." And things like this did make me doubt at times, but what I did was I turned it around. And there's no better motivator for me than proving people wrong. So whenever I would be told things or hear little things like this, I would double down and I would work harder. My study groups became my best friends. You could always find me in office hours after an exam trying to figure out where I went wrong, and I worked really, really hard. Next slide. And so after all this hard work, after 4 years, I finally received my degree in mechanical engineering, and it truly was one of, honestly, my proudest achievements because I had to work hard. And looking back, I'm not ashamed to say that it was hard for me. If anything, it makes me proud that I had to work really hard for something, and because I struggled in it and I was able to do it, I have so much confidence that any of you can do it too. Next slide. Yeah, so then when I was in university and preparing for finding a job and all of that, was starting to prepare for graduation, I did the NREAP internship, where then I was introduced to Naval Information Warfare Center Pacific. Yeah, big title. I'll refer to it as a NIWC PAC. And so with NIWC PAC, I got to intern with the UMV Lab, another acronym, which stands for Unmanned Maritime Vehicle Lab. And so here, my experience interning with them, I was able to go out on a boat with them on San Diego Bay with their engineers and techs, and I got to play with some of their really cool toys. They allowed me to play with their ROVs, which are remotely operated vehicles. They're underwater vehicles, and they're controlled by a tether. And then I also got to play with their unmanned surface vessels, which are remotely operated. They kind of look like a boat, catamaran, but like I said, unmanned and remotely operated. So this was already super exciting, really fun. Then after that, get back to the lab and get to work alongside of these fantastic engineers that are tinkering, building things, building prototypes. There's robot parts everywhere. There's 3D printers buzzing in the background, and it's just magical. And so I knew I wanted to work here. And to my surprise, shortly after the internship, it was my senior year, I got offered a job in their lab and immediately accepted it. And I never left. So I have been working for the UMB lab for the last 4 years, and I have been able to work on some amazing projects. I've been able to design and build a swarm of autonomous underwater vehicles. You can see me fixing one there on the water on a boat. I also got to design a launch and recovery system for one of our ROVs, and I get to do these really fun projects and travel. I've gotten to go to Hawaii, I got to go to the Great Lakes in Michigan, and work alongside of my really, really fun team who is super smart and just full of amazing men and women. But we do have a lot of fun. I know I make it sound really, really fun. We do have a lot of fun at our job, but at the end of the day, the goal is to design new technology that then can be put in the hands of our service men and women that are fighting for our safety overseas. So it's very, very fun work, but very important work. Next slide. And last thing about me, I'm also not just an engineer. I am also a wife and a mama. I've been married to my very supportive husband for the last 3 years, and we just celebrated our sweet baby girl's birthday this past June. Why do I tell you this? Because I also want you girls to know that you can be a wife, and you can be a mom, and you can have your dream STEM career. I've seen a lot of women who feel like they have to choose between one or the other. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to. You can have all of them. And here you can use me as an example that it is possible. I also want you to remember that at the end of the day, your closest friends and family are always going to be your best support system. And also, I couldn't miss the opportunity to show off my baby. Next slide. Great. So now that you know a little bit more about me, I want to share with you 5 essential tools that I put together for you guys. So I gave you a little bit of a glimpse of what my path looked like to get me to my career, but I know everybody's path is going to look a little bit different. So I put together these 5 tools that I think are extremely helpful and will help you to navigate your path to your dream STEM career. Next slide. So number 1 is to dream. Every path starts with a dream. So I encourage you to dream. Do some research. See what STEM has to offer for you. There's so many different career options, you would be surprised. Like engineering, for example, you have mechanical, you have electrical, you have software, you have civil. There's so many. You get it. So do your research. See what sparks your interest. See what excites you. And whatever that dream career is, lock your eyes on it. Find something that reminds you of it. If it's a book, a picture, something, put it up on your wall, put it in your school binder, and look at it. And every time things get hard, when you get a bad grade and you don't want to keep going, you want to give up, look at that dream and remind yourself of what you're working towards. For me, that dream was becoming an Imagineer for Disney. So the engineers for Disney that design all of their great attractions and rides and all those things, they're called Imagineers. And I learned this at a really young age. And so at a nice age of 8 years old, I said, I'm going to be an Imagineer and no one's stopping me. And so I was obsessed with them. I watched documentaries about them. I had books about them. I would talk to everybody about Imagineers. I was at Disneyland all the time. And so that was my dream. And I had these books on a bookshelf, and I would look at those books every single time things got hard. And this is already in university. And I would say, that's what I'm working for whenever I wanted to give up. So dreams are extremely motivating and such a powerful tool. But I will say it's important for your dreams to be flexible. So when I graduated in 2020, Does that year trigger anything? 2020? Yeah. So when I was trying to, get a job and was getting all my ducks in a row, was trying to figure out what Disney internship I was going to do, I had my Disney contacts, all that stuff, the world shut down. Disneyland shut down. All of it fell apart. And yeah, I was bummed at first, but when one door shut, another one opened, and I got to the career that I'm at today, and I honestly would not change a thing about that. So it's important to dream, but also be flexible. Next slide. So number 2, like-minded people. Surround yourself with like-minded people. So if you find whatever your dream career is and you set your eyes on that, find an organization, find a club, and submerge yourself in that culture. So for me, it was the robotics team. That helped me to be influenced by those around me, that helped me to learn new things. And on top of that, you don't just want to be surrounded by like-minded people, but you also want to be surrounded by positive people. It is so important to surround yourself with people that are cheering for you and believe in you. If you have anybody in your life or friends that put doubt in you, that are distractions in your path, that are trying to hold you back and may even not want to see you succeed, you want to steer away from them and surround yourself by positive influences who are going to help you. Have you guys ever heard, show me your friends and I'll show you your future? Does that sound familiar? Yeah, my mom used to say that to me all the time, and it used to really annoy me. But eventually, Mama was right. And looking back, once I changed my friend preferences, I realized that my path got a lot clearer and a lot easier. Next slide. Tool number 3, a mentor. Find a mentor. It is so important to have someone that can guide you. And this is important because they could walk alongside you on your path. You can do this in many different ways. You can have multiple mentors. You can just have one mentor that you're comfortable with. You can have a mentor through high school, and then a mentor through college, and then a mentor when you get to your career. You can mix it up however you want. For me, I was born into a household with an engineer who held me accountable all the time. So my mentor was my mom. She always held me accountable and helped me along the way. But even in times when she noticed she couldn't give me the best advice, she would put me in connection or point me in the right direction of who I could talk to be my mentor and help me when I needed help. So finding a mentor is extremely helpful. Next slide. Number 4, don't be afraid to ask for help. This is a hard one. Don't be afraid to admit that you're struggling and you need help. If you're struggling in a class, if you're struggling with a math problem, whatever it is, ask for help. Ask your teachers now, and then ask your professors once you get to university. And if you're one of those people who doesn't really like to put your hand up in the middle of class and that makes you nervous, then wait till after class and go talk to your teacher and ask them then. Oh, or find out when their office hours are and go visit them there. I know that probably 80% of my professors knew me by name because of how much I bugged them after class because I needed help. But for me, it was so helpful to have someone that would sit with me one-on-one and explain a concept to me in a way that made sense to me rather than in a big classroom setting. So ask your professors for help. Also, look around in your classrooms. See who's good at the materials that you struggle with. See those who are also struggling and are also trying to succeed, and form study groups. If it was not for study groups, I truly don't think I would have graduated. My study group was so tight-knit and so important to me, and that's actually how I met my best friend. So on the first day of university, we're walking up to campus, just freshly out of high school, still have that high school smell, getting into university, and we sit in our first MU 101 course, which is mechanical engineering, and we start talking to each other about how nervous we are, how scared we are that we're in university, and we can't believe it. And that bond turned into a lifelong friendship, and we pretty much took every single class together, studied together, and graduated together. And those are the type of friendships that you want to surround yourself with. You want to find people that will support you and will help you and only want the best for you. Next slide. Number 5, my last tool for you, is to believe in yourself and don't give up. This one, again, sounds easy, but it's not. It's one of the hardest. I actually believe that this is one of the reasons why most women give up in their STEM careers, because they struggle to believe. And it can be hard because you think it's just something easy, but it's not. It's a muscle memory. You need to be able to flex it. You need to flex it and practice it and teach yourself that you can believe in yourself. Theodore Roosevelt once said, if you believe in yourself, then you're halfway there. It is one of the hardest parts of it. And so in preparation for this talk, I started asking around some of the female engineers that I know, and I asked them, what piece of advice would you guys give these young girls that I'm about to talk to? And all of the women that I talked to said something very similar to what you see up there. They said, believe in yourself. And when it gets hard, don't give up. And if the idea of believing in yourself to do something so big, something beyond you is really hard, that's okay. That's normal. Take baby steps. Set yourself little milestones that you can believe in. Tell yourself, I believe that I can do this assignment. I believe that I can pass this class or this test. And then I believe I can pass this class. And so on. You start building that habit of believing yourself in little pieces. And as you prove to yourself that you can do these hard things, the more confidence that you're going to have in yourself to continue moving forward and continue achieving more. And if you have this mindset, you will be surprised of the things that you can achieve. This mindset in itself is what helped me to get where I am today. If it wasn't for me dreaming, if it wasn't for me surrounding myself with like-minded people, if it wasn't for me finding a mentor, if it wasn't for me asking for help when I needed it, and if it wasn't for me believing in myself and not giving up when it was most tempting, I don't think that I would be here on this stage talking to you about my career today. And so since I was one of you, not too long ago, I was one of you sitting in these seats, a middle schooler, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And if I was someone just like you and I did these essential tools and that got me to where I am today, I have no doubt in my mind that you can do it too. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Loiza. That was really inspirational. Okay, so just like last time, we'll be doing another quizzes. The winner for this one will also be winning a $50 Cheesecake Factory voucher. Um, so let's get that going now.
All right, so we're gonna have to go through this one a little bit quicker. So yeah, just keep that in mind. for the $50 Cheesecake Factory voucher. Same thing, we're going to need you guys to come up front. That way we can get your information. All right, so it's going to be Isabella A. Do we have our winner here? Yeah, all right. Come up on front, and then we'll get you your voucher. All right, congratulations. Another round of applause. All right. You ready, Kira?
For this next part of our conference, we will be having our professional panel, in which everyone will have the opportunity to ask questions about our panelists' work, experience, education, or any questions that arose during their speaker presentations. Inside of your speaker pamphlets, you will find examples that assist in everyone's engagement during our panel. For those of you joining online, feel free to write your questions in the chat. We look forward to seeing you have the chance to engage during the event as well.
Okay, so for our first panelist, first, we'd like to welcome back our 5 speakers to join the panel, and we will be introducing our 2 new panelists for this Q&A section. So our first panelist is Miss Emily Datkins, and she's a senior engineer at GD NASCO with a decade of experience. She's a graduate of the California Maritime Academy. In high school, Ms. Datkins participated in an after-school program called TEAMS, which stands for the Test of Engineering Aptitude, Math, and Science, showcasing her early interest in aptitude in engineering. Ms. Datkins is also known for her exceptional problem-solving skills and dedication to the excellence in engineering projects. She specializes in UNREP, underway replenishment, and is highly skilled in this critical area. Outside of work, she enjoys traveling and exploring new destinations. Ms. Datkins is a role model for aspiring engineers, inspiring others with her hard work and determination.
Next up is Dr. Pope. Round of applause, yeah? All right. Next up is Dr. Teresa Nguyen, immigrated from Vietnam as a kid and grew up in National City. She graduated from Sweetwater High School and went on to UCLA to receive a Bachelor of Science in Biology. Wanting to translate this degree into a career in healthcare, she obtained a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from Howard University. During pharmacy school, she did an internship at a pharmaceutical company and discovered that she really loved doing scientific research. This experience led her to pursue a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences from the University of Michigan. Dr. Nguyen has been working in the biotech and pharmaceutical industry for close to 20 years. Another round of applause, please. Okay, so how this is going to work is I'm going to be down on the floor. If you have any questions, please just raise your hand, and I will come around and I'll bring the mic. You can ask our speakers. If we could have our speakers just go down the line and go through your name again, just so that our attendees know how to ask.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm just Julie Rowland. Gabby Loiza.
Sahana Kumar. Emerald Trejo. Emily Datkins. Teresa Nguyen. Tammy Ward.
All right, so if we have any questions, please raise your hand and I'll come around. All right.
This question is for Julie Rowland. I was wondering if you ever had any second thoughts about your career, and if you did, how did you work through it?
Okay. Yeah, for sure. First of all, I did a ROTC to go through college, which for me at my university involved 5 days a week being up at 5 a.m. and doing maybe exercises from 5 to 9 a.m. Already, just when that alarm clock went off every single day, I think I experienced regret. And then going to class after, like having class at 10 a.m., having already been up for 5 hours, was difficult, and there was a thought of like, oh gosh, am I doing too much? So there's definitely that moment. But actually, like after my mom passed, I took a semester off to handle things, and I missed it. And with the free time, I was like, okay, I have a little bit more free time now, but I want to feel like I'm making a difference still. So maybe I should join some community service clubs. And it's like, oh, but I'm also missing kind of the teamwork element. Maybe I should join an intramural team. So I ended up joining like 7 clubs that semester to try to like replace the feeling that being a part of ROTC had given me. And then I thought, oh, okay, I should probably just go back. So I did. So that's like one piece is that there were moments like that. So you go through orientation, indoctrination. That was difficult as a pilot because you can get shot down behind enemy lines. Hypothetically, we go through a survival, evasion, resistance, escape school. So around the time that I was like surviving out in the woods, with that, those are moments where you're like questioning your life decisions. But honestly, all of those things have like looking back been really amazing training. And then the last one I'll say is I experienced it in 2016, I experienced it in 2020. There are sometimes moments that happen like in the world or in the country where I have a moment of like, could I be of better service to my country or my world if I weren't in the military, if I were doing something else? And I think that it just goes back to like, the answer is you can serve your community, country, world in any number of ways. And I happened to, when I was 17, embark on the military as the way to do that. And so even as I've had moments where I'm like, well, I can't really be the activist I want to be, or whatever, as I've had those moments of doubt, my thoughts are, well, maybe one day I'll, when I leave the military, then I'll, be more of an activist in an outspoken way. But also that, like, as if there's ever a moment where the big mission or something, like if I don't feel that alignment as much, my mission always can be the people that I'm serving with, because no matter what the military is being sent to do, there are people joining the military who don't necessarily have the purpose that I've had, and for better or for worse, the Navy, the military is, I think, that one of the best ways to get your foot in the door to any future you want. And so there are people who are joining all over the country, and it's the best opportunity for them to see the world, to get that teamwork and leadership experience, and so no matter what is going on in the world, being a good officer to them and looking out for them is what keeps me motivated. Thanks for the question.
All right. So this hand over here.
This is a question from Ms. Kumar. I was wondering is it hard? Like, how'd you take so many AP classes, and how hard was it?
Great question.
Is this working? Hello? Good? We can hear me? Exceptional. Okay. I took a lot of AP classes because I'm really stubborn, and I've never met a challenge that I didn't think that I could get over. But like, actually, truly, that is like the thing that will get you through most parts of your life that you don't think you can do. I overloaded almost every single semester that I was in college. I worked full time when I was in college. I took a truly heinous amount of AP classes. I don't even want to count them right now because, like, God, like, no one should take that many classes. But I thought I could, and I was interested in them. Like, truly, I was genuinely interested in the classes that I was taking and what I was doing. The only AP to this day I regret taking was AP economics. Like, oh my God, I want to die just thinking about it. But I really, really loved like every single AP class I took, and I think that's what gets you through it. And that's why, like, I feel like people ask me all the time now of like, oh, like how many APs should I take? And I'm like, the true answer is you should take the amount of APs that you're actually interested in, because that's what'll get you through the studying. And it is a good way to prepare for college, but also like an AP won't make or break you. You shouldn't take 8 million APs for the sake of taking 8 million APs. You should take AP classes that you are truly genuinely interested in. And I was lucky. I was truly genuinely interested in science and English and like art history type things. And there were a lot of APs in those fields. I wasn't that interested in like Spanish or art, so I did not take those, and I'm grateful that I didn't, because I would have done extraordinarily poorly in them. So do the things you're interested in, and don't do things just because people say that you should to get to a certain point in your life. You don't ever need to follow anyone else's should. There is always like alternative paths in life to get to the things you want, and I promise you that like 5 or 10 years from now, you will not remember or even think about the number of AP classes you took. God knows I don't. Yeah.
All right, do we have any other questions? Yeah? All right.
Okay, so my question is also for Ms. Kumar, and I love how you explained in your journey about how you tried a bunch of different things to get where you wanted to be. And for me, I'm in kind of the same situation. I'm pulled in a bunch of different directions, and I have a goal in my life, which I don't know what I want to do yet, but I have a goal to serve others while also doing something like engineering because I think it would just leave a really cool lasting impact, and I like can relate so much to your entire presentation. But what I was wondering, because I am interested in becoming a biomedical engineer, I'm in my senior year, and that's like probably one of my number one choices, is how do you see the direct change in what you do with your patients? Because like I know the other disciplines of engineering are also very helpful to other people. That's what they do. But I want to see like a direct human impact of like relationships with your patients.
It's a really incredible and noble goal. And I think that like one of the most important things that I learned in life and in like my career, and the thing that I try to have as my North Star, is that like I want to in my life do all of the good I can do, but that means something different for me than it does for you, than it does for every single other person in this room. There are lots of ways to do good for people. There are lots of ways to serve others. And I think it takes some time to figure out what yours is. For me, I was a lot like you. I liked seeing my patients. The thing that like really got me through every single hard day in college, every single time that I was working full time, is that I got to go to work and see the kids, and I love the kids. I worked in inpatient pediatrics and outpatient pediatrics my entire way through college, and I loved it. And to this day in medical school, the thing that gets me up every morning is like on Monday, I get to work a night shift in the ER. Most people say night shift, that's horrible. I want to sleep. I have been looking forward to this for the last 2 weeks. I've been waiting to go into the ER and see people and sit with people and make them feel better. I think I have the best job in the world. Like medical school is hard, but I get through every single like long studying block because I get to go like help people at the end of the day, and that's amazing. And so I think when you think about bioengineering, there are some bioengineering disciplines where you work more directly with people. You get to see the impact of the devices you make. There are some that you work less, but all of your devices still help people. We use them in hospitals. I can tell you now, after being on both sides of the spectrum, the devices you make change people's lives. It just depends how much direct impact you want. If you want to really see patients every single day, you might want to go into medicine. If you want to build things and know in your heart that they are helping hundreds of thousands of people, but you don't need to see those people every day, then engineering is a great route. In terms of being pulled in a lot of different directions, I think that the most important thing you can do to kind of narrow down what you like is think about the things that, like, when you have your busiest weeks, you look forward to going to, and the things that feel like a slog to go to. Like, I think you should never quit anything on your worst day. You should always quit something on your best day, because if you can quit it on your best day, you know you're ready to leave it. But at the same time, I think it's really important to, like, if you're in 7 different things and you know you don't have time or space or mental energy to be healthy and happy in all those 7 things, you should think about the things that you like really dread going to versus the things that you love. Because for me, I knew that, like, even when I was taking 22 credits and working, that I still wanted to keep working, because there was never a day that I dreaded going in to see my patients. I always loved it. But there were days that I really dreaded going to that autonomous planning workshop. And like to this day, I think even on the best days of that, when like my supervisors told me I was doing a good job, I was really like watching the clock for 5 p.m. when I could clock out. So if you're ever watching the clock on something, it's probably not the right thing for you.
Can I also add something else? I really like your question about biomedical engineering. So again, I'm Dr. Teresa Wen. I'm in biotech. So I started my career with pharmaceutical research. So we're doing drug development. But at some point in my career, I got involved in 3D bioprinting, where you're actually printing human tissues. So where I was doing my research was we 3D bioprinted liver tissues, and you use that to then do research. But additionally, the field is evolving. Now they're printing tissue for transplantation. So those are sort of examples of different ways you can affect patients, because you're looking for a way to make an impact on a patient. So it one way is medical school where you're actually interacting with a human being, but other ways you can do that is through biomedical engineering or chemical engineering, where you're building technologies that would make an impact on a patient. So just think about that. There's a lot of way for you to get to where you want to be. And I think the message of a lot of the speakers today is um, flexibility, right? So you can think about what you want to do, but don't be afraid that certain path is very circuitous, very roundabout. Um, my path, I didn't get a chance to give a talk today, but my path was I loved science in high school. I went to UCLA, was a bio major, and guess who failed their first bio class? That was me. And I'm like, whoa, wait, what's going on? Like, this was my passion, but I failed it my first year at UCLA, and I had to rethink about, am I made for this? Earlier there was a question about, changing your mind about your career in STEAM, and that was the point where I was like, am I good enough? Right? Am I good enough, or am I really made for this? But I knew that biology was my passion. I'm like, no, this this first failure isn't doesn't define me. I'm gonna redo this class, and I went from failing my first bio class to getting an A, and that sort of like reoriented myself again. So I guess my message is um, you already have an idea of where you want to be, but the path to get there may be a roundabout, and that's okay. Like, don't feel so much fear about I have to make the right decision. The right decision will lead you down one road, and don't be afraid to say, I don't like this. I'm gonna reroute myself. So that's the message that I really want to um, give you and the rest of you. Like, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And before I turn this off, I want to embarrass Matthew Nguyen. He's my nephew, so I just want to say Matthew.
All right. All right. We'll be jumping to some more questions.
Hello. Okay. Is it on? Really close. Okay. All right. Hi. So, this is for a question for Miss Nguyen and Nguyen. Yeah. Okay. And then also Miss Kumar, if you could like add something on this. Um, what would you recommend to a student or someone who's really interested in research in the biological fields? Um, I personally am like really focused on genetics, and I know that that's something that's kind of hard to find people who are really interested in it, but I want to incorporate biotechnology into it as well. And I see all these different paths, and I'm like, well, I could take a little bit of everything, but I want to have more of a path to go on.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So for me, obviously, to be in the field, you got to take the STEM classes. But the one thing that really helped me to get to where I am today and is internship. Always be looking for internships. Ms. Kumar said earlier, like she did a lot of it and learned that it's okay. She hated this, so next summer she did something else. So obviously classes, but also look for opportunities to volunteer and do internships because that's how you're gonna learn whether you really like something or not. So I went to pharmacy school, and I thought I was going to become a pharmacist. And I did an internship at a pharmaceutical company, and I just love being a lab rat. And my mentor at that time was like, well, if you really want to do this, you might want to consider getting your PhD, and you might want to consider getting your PhD while you're still in the student mentality, because once you go out and work, then you're used to a certain style, certain standard of living, and going back to being a student again is difficult. So me having always loved being in school, I was like, all right, I'll just do what it takes. And so the internship was how it guided me to where I am today. So volunteer and internship.
I agree with everything Dr. Nguyen said first, but I'll be a little more specific because I think I might have most recently gone through the whole like high school, college rat race. Um, if you want an internship in high school, it's possible. You don't have to get one. To be so clear, have your summers if you want them. I really like. I don't like free time very much. Clearly, I think that's the type of people who go to med school. So what I did in the summers, there are two different pathways. My sister and I both took different ones, so I can speak a little bit to each. I took the email a bunch of people and hear no a million times and you're too young a million times and eventually get one yes. I talked about that a little. I literally went down like the roster of UCSD professors because that was the closest university to my house. I'm very lucky, I know. And emailed every single one and said, hi, I know nothing, but I will work harder than anyone that you have. I promise. And I did. And I got that first internship, and it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I wanted to work in the hospital. The hospital really said, like, no, come back when you're older. But UCSD was willing to take me. The second pathway that's becoming more and more popular is a lot of universities, not just UCSD, tons of them have programs now for high schoolers. I actually taught one of those programs while I was at Johns Hopkins. I can't remember the name, but it's like a bioengineering specific program. You take some classes, you do some research. It's very, very cool. It gets you very far. My sister did that. She had an exceptional time. She was interested in environmental engineering research. She went really far in that, and I think she worked at UCSD almost every summer except last summer. It worked out really well for her. She's now going to Princeton. So you can definitely do those programs. You can also email. Be prepared to get rejected early and often. But I also think that being rejected is a really, really powerful thing because you learn really early to deal with all of those no's coming in. And it doesn't feel good to be told, no, you are both young and underqualified and like undereducated for this. Like, no, absolutely not. It doesn't feel good. It also doesn't feel good to walk into a lab for the first time and realize how like unprepared you are for it. But it teaches you that you can like survive that rejection. And you can survive that feeling of like, I don't know what I'm doing. And you will learn and you will get better and you will get there.
All right. We jump into a next question here.
Hi. I just wanted to say I love the comment of jumping into something when you're not prepared. Like I've had experience with it, and it's definitely a learning experience because of trying to overcome that anxiety of like not knowing anything and then just pushing yourself out there. But my question, I guess, is more general. I know I wanted to go somewhere in the broad spectrum of coding. I'm thinking like video games, but going to this conference, I might want to do something else. But I'm just having a difficult time learning. I've taken computer science course. I took the AP Comp Science exam, and my teacher wasn't that great. I'm not gonna lie, he didn't teach that well. But I feel like knowing Python is great for data and stuff like that. But with the stuff and the creative stuff I want to do, I don't know how to start making projects and how to get my foot in the door. So it's like a general anyone that wants to answer.
I can answer that because I'm a software engineer. And so the first thing is you have to know that there's so many coding languages. You say Python, but there's Java, there's C++. You say video games, okay, if you're a big video gamer, you can start learning Unity, which is a platform where you can start developing Call of Duty, And to be honest, to really get into like the industry of coding, you need to have a website, and you could actually, going back to YouTube, watch some YouTube videos. It'll literally show you an hour how to make a website. And you'll learn how to code, start from there. And to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Python. And that's okay because I know C#. and I'm already working in DevOps. So I'm deploying, using pipelines to make virtual machines. And so you find out what you like. Like if someone were to say, "Oh, I code in Java," it's like, okay, cool. I don't like Java, but there's just so many. That's why I love my career. It's because it's so broad, and you can test what you like and move forward with it. And then if you don't like it or you get bored, you do something else because there's so many different facets to it. So my recommendation for you is, YouTube, find a language you like. Free Code Camp is a great website that helps you learn HTML to CSS. Get your foot in the door. There are some software developers who just do front end, so making websites pretty. There's some software engineers who just do back end. So the back end services include databases, deploying virtual machines, and then there's a full stack spectrum, which is, hey, you want a website? Okay, I can deploy it so you can have it front end, back end. You want to get notifications on your phone. You want an app. That's the whole thing. So if you think you want to do it, just start testing it out. You got plenty of time. YouTube is what I highly recommend to really, figure out what you want. And there's a lot of great YouTube videos on how to make like a Tetris game with JavaScript. It's like a 4-hour video, and it'll teach you, from the ground up how to do that. So definitely explore, what you may or may not like with that.
All right, who else? Back here? All right, we can go back here.
Is it working? Okay, good. This question is for Miss Loiza, and I wanted to ask, what was your favorite college or high school class to take?
Hello. Awesome. That's a really good. That's a really good question. I would have to honestly say my favorite courses when I was studying mechanical engineering was my two design classes. So I had one, I want to say it was junior year. The name of it is escaping me, but it's pretty much your intro to design, and you build a mock-up. You start with just literally building something with cardboard, and then through that semester you actually have to build something. And I got to build a cart that goes up the stairs. So it would like wheel up the stairs, and it was a really cool project. And so that was one. And then my second favorite course would probably be, which was 2 semesters, was the capstone senior project at the end of the year, where you actually get to work with the sponsor that sponsors your project, and they tell you whatever your deliverable is, whatever they want. For me, it worked well that through my internship, I made connections with NIWIC, and they sponsored my senior design project. And so I got to work with them already when I was a senior in university, and I designed a launching system for one of their ROVs. And this is still, university, very, basic knowledge and stuff, but it was still a really great experience to be able to sketch something out, then 3D print some parts, build it, test it, and be able to submit that for a class. And so it was really exciting and was also very similar to what I would end up doing for my career. So those would be my favorite classes that I took.
All right, we'll be jumping to the next question right up front.
Okay, so this is a question for Ms. Kumar. How and when did you find time to finish any homework or after school activities that you have to do with all your extracurriculars that you're doing?
What a great question. I'm not sure I know. Okay. So I, in high school, we had like class from I think the typical high school schedule, so like something like 8 to 3. Technically 3 to 6 was an open window to finish homework, and then 6 to 10 was robotics every night. And then on weekends we were at robotics from like 8 to 10, which is ridiculous. I don't think they are allowed to do that anymore. Theoretically, I should have used that 3 to 6 time to finish my homework. In reality, I used that 3 to 6 time to like throw pens at fans with my friends and things like that. I don't know what we were doing. We did things. And like I used that time to like hang out with my friends, and I don't regret that because I think it kept me sane. I got really, really good at being efficient. I would get work done during my free period at school. If we had like breaks between classes, I was getting things done. And then when I got home, I would get a little bit of work done between like 10 and 12, and then I go to bed and wake up the next morning and do it all over again. I did research on the weekends that I wasn't doing robotics. We only really did the weekend robotics during build season, which anyone in robotics knows. It's like a 6-week period of craziness in your life. And so that was how I did homework. I got really, really good at being efficient. And one of the first things I learned was that like I blocked out time for everything that I was doing, including spending time with friends, because spending time with your friends and family is so important. Like you need to take time for yourself or you're going to burn out. But also like I loved everything that I was doing. I would get home from doing robotics for 4 hours and call my best friend and we'd talk about like the new code that we wanted to write for the robot at night. And sometimes like I said in college that I in some ways thought that high school was harder than college for me because I was just doing so many things, but I loved every single thing that I did and I had that energy for it and that like kind of got me through. And then homework was kind of the afterthought that I had to get done. So I got good at doing it fast because that was what I needed to do. I could write a 5-page essay in 30 minutes. It was a little ridiculous. And I got good at doing that because those were the blocks of time I gave myself to get things done. And I was like, if you don't get this done, everything, like, you're not going to pass this class. And if you don't pass this class, you're going to get pulled out of robotics. So that was like the worst fear that I had at the time was getting pulled out of robotics. So I got really good at getting things done efficiently. I made time for things where I could, and I really, really utilized my time so I could have fun when I wanted to. I could do the things I wanted to when I wanted to.
I'm just going to jump in real quick. I didn't speak to this, but it might have been my intro. So I'm active duty military. It's a full-time job. I'm also a full-time law student, and I've been going at night. So I'm like currently in this sort of space where, you know, it's like, where's the free time? I'll say I totally echo all of that, and I just add, it is better to give yourself like a 2.5-hour block than to give yourself 5 30-minute blocks. It's this idea, it's called deep work, and there's like books on it and stuff, but if you can create more time when you are not distracting yourself from work, it actually rewires your brain to be even better at it. But the point being, don't multitask the task. If you are trying to do your homework and you have your phone out and you're, doing 5 minutes of reading really quickly, like check your text and you do 5 minutes of reading, you're going to be more inefficient. So yes, like you want to be an efficient worker to make those blocks of time work. If you give yourself longer periods of time rather than multiple short periods of time and truly like get the phone out of the room or like don't have the TV on at the same time, you will make your brain better at being able to sustain efficient work for a longer period of time. And like without doing that, this would not be possible. So that's just what I'd add. Is like that's my pro tip on that as well.
Kind of like echoing off of that really quick. I know I've talked a lot. I agree with everything she just said, but also like part of that is it's really, really important that even on your busiest weeks, your exam weeks, your like everything is crazy weeks, you give yourself time to like do what recharges you, whether that's hanging out with your friends, whether that's watching a movie, whether that's whatever, and really let yourself enjoy that. Like give yourself that block and then go back to your work, because I've had a lot of friends who make this mistake of like they'll say no to everything fun in their lives and cut it all out, but because of that all of their work will be really inefficient because they feel like, oh my god, I'm just working so much, I'm working for hours and hours and hours and I'm not getting anything done. And that is that kind of thing of like you're being inefficient because you feel like you haven't had any free time, and so your brain doesn't want to work. So you have to give yourself time for both. You have to give yourself time to like hang out with your friends or go to robotics or like do whatever is the thing that makes you happy if in order to be productive during those times, because then you kind of feel like, okay, like I've had my fun time, I can have my focus time now.
Yeah, I call it give yourself deep work and also give yourself deep play.
All right. We're going to be jumping on back now.
Hi. Can you hear me? This is a question for all the ladies. My main issue in my STEM journey is just being able to believe in myself and love myself. So I was wondering how you guys were able to manage that, how to be able to just trust yourself and believe that you can do it. Anyone can answer it. So.
I think it's a great question. As you heard my story, emancipating my family, being on my own, trying to find where I fit in the world, trying to find where I belong I think it's what you're saying. And self-love can only come from what's behind your own eyes. not what's in front of someone else's eyes or anything like that. And it's about taking the time for you. You know, if you're finding yourself like, oh, I'm super nervous here, or I can't seem to figure out where to move or go in that direction, then just spend time with you. Let you be your own focus. You know, we're talking about deep focus, deep play. Be playful. Be mindful that everything is play, even discovering yourself. You know, perhaps you discover that, you know, I kind of feel great when I just like look in the mirror and smile at myself, right? And get out of the way of what the external world thinks. You know, we're all looking for external validation, right? All of us. But what will be more achievable and allow you to find yourself is to find that inner empowerment. And so whenever you go up against things where you're like, OMG, you've got to say, no, wait, wait a second. Yeah, this class is hard, but how can I love myself through it? How can I be with myself in the present moment? And when you discover that, everything else will just follow. Everything would just become easy, right? It wasn't easy to repeat fifth grade, right? Especially with the twin sister, because now everybody's questioning, why is she here and you're here, right? I got lost. Remember the part of where you can get lost in the shuffle? You are the only one that can get lost in your own shuffle. So learn how to find a way to see yourself greater than anyone else can see you.
So I can also speak to that. I still struggle with, my identity. I'm a female on an all-male team. And it's hard to kind of do my work sometimes thinking I'm like the dumbest person on the team because these guys can just bust out some code and fix the problem immediately, and it might take me a little bit longer. So what I'm working on too is stop telling myself that I'm dumb and that I'm still capable of this work. And going back to my story of how I've been rejected so many times, as my introduction said, I'm still finishing up my second master's, and I was pregnant when I started my second master's. And I told the director, like, hey, I'm pregnant, and he told me you should drop out of this master's degree because you're pregnant. It's going to be too stressful for you. And you know what I did? I graduated while I'm still finishing up my last course. I did my whole master's program pregnant. I had my baby who's over there while doing my master's. And my story is, which is why this master's is so inspiration. I went into labor Monday. I had on Tuesday. I had a project due that Friday and had a final exam that Saturday. And I started all over in my next class. So because I was told that I should drop out, I took that as a challenge. And I like a challenge. I'm a spicy Latina. Give me a challenge. I'll come at you, And my drive is being told no. And it's just what motivates me. It pumps me up. And one thing that a Lockheed executive said many years ago is when you're uncomfortable, that means you're growing. And I like to put myself in uncomfortable situations where I doubt myself, thinking I don't belong here. And I prove to them that I do belong and I prosper. So whenever you feel like you don't feel like you're good enough, tell yourself that you belong.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to piggyback about that. It's like when you can learn to be able to get comfortable in your uncomfortability, that's when you know that you faced a lot of things to get where you want to go. And remember, words are powerful. So whatever you say, your mind believes. Because think about your brain is a mechanical machine. We can all agree upon that, right? Your brain is mechanics. It's going to do exactly what it has done. And it loves to do exactly that all the time. And so your brain doesn't know any difference between leading you in the path that you've already been because you haven't told it to be any different. So if you keep telling your brain like, yes, you can do this. Yes, I can love myself. Yes, I'm going to, right? I am is a powerful statement, but believing it in your heart is the greater one.
One more thing. Gabby talked earlier about finding like-minded people. And while it's really, really important to have a lot of that come from yourself, it's also true that it's hard to believe you're awesome when everyone around you is telling you that you suck. And some people will always tell you that, which is fine. That's just people in the world being terrible. But it is so important and so special to have people in your life who believe in you and reaffirm you and pump you up. For a long time in high school and college, and even still now, I had this screenshots folder in my phone, and this is so embarrassing, but I'm telling you all now. I had this screenshots folder in my phone where I would take pictures of a nice comment a teacher left on an essay or a text a friend sent me that made me feel good. And I would look at them and I'd read them over and over when I felt like I wasn't good enough, because it made me believe, like, if you can't believe that you're good enough, at least someone else does. And that's why I think SWE has been really incredible in medical school, because I'm a part of it now. I go to outreach events, and every time I go to outreach events, everyone around me tells me all the time how incredible they think I am. And whether or not they're lying, I feel really good. And I feel like whenever I'm like struggling in class and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to fail pulmonology, I'm like, well, at least last week, like Emerald said something really nice to me, and that made me feel good. And at least I have that. I have like these people who believe in me, and I have this community. And having a community of people who believe in you is the most powerful thing you can give yourself to start believing in yourself too. Because I used to be the shyest, most quiet person alive. The idea of doing this would have terrified me in high school. Like truly, I could not. This would have been like in a nightmare somewhere. But I can do it now because I had people who believed in me and who thought that I was capable and powerful, because you are capable and powerful. You just need to find the people who see it in yourself before you can see it yourself.
And I'm just going to piggyback off that just one more time. Is if you understand, like in my story, right? When I emancipated my family for being gay, the whole town in the little small town of Missouri just refused to even be with me and talk with me. When I joined the military, I had this innate wisdom. So I really couldn't find a mentor, because every time I went to a mentor, they were saying, we don't even know. You're teaching us. We don't even know how to mentor you, right? And so then I just felt lost and isolated. And so if that does happen to any of you here, and you just can't seem to find your like-minded people, and you can't seem to find what that is, create your own. Be that leader of the new people who are out there thinking, I don't have that either. Because everywhere I went, every step I made, I had captains, admirals, pilots who were like, how do you know to do this? And it's like, no, I just believe in myself to do it. And really, belief just came from, I just did it. I faced it. I was like, well, this might be blink, 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 bleep, 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 but I did it anyway, right? Because that's how you build self-love, is by knowing yourself.
Can I also add, also allow yourself to make mistakes, or to trip and fall. Like, straight A student in high school, failed my first biology class in college, and that, being that young and failing at that point, it was devastating. But I was very young, and was struggling to figure out, this is my favorite subject, yet I failed my first class in college. But it was not about biology, but it was more about the way I was studying in high school was very different than the way that I needed to study in college. And yet today I sit here with my PhD, even though I failed my very first class in college. So allow yourself to fail, and know that it's okay. It's not gonna define the rest of my life. So, like, do not fear failure. Just pick yourself up, redo it, and prove to yourself that that was just a little glitch. So don't be afraid to fail.
I'm going to add one thing onto this. If you guys can tell, this is a huge, important thing that every single person up here's went through. All of you guys are going through it. Do not think you are alone in that. Everyone's going to deal with it. Everyone's going to go through kind of the same struggles. Some might not bring it up to other people, but you can kind of tell from all the speakers today, it's find something you love when you're doing it, because once you have something you love, you're going to keep working for it. And that as you keep working for it, keep going with it, you are going to find you're going to build that confidence to be like, hey, I might have failed this one. Okay, give yourself a little pity party, but then pick yourself right up. And you're going to want to do that because you're passionate about what you're doing. So know that if you're struggling with it, everyone else is going through the same thing. It's not something you're going through alone. You can reach out for help with your like-minded people. Find those people. I have friends that I will call up and be like, I just need to vent. And then you go up, and then we find solutions to go through and build that. But if you find something that you're passionate about, you will keep going for it, and then you'll build that confidence and keep going for it.
Yeah, I befriended Fear. I gave it a name. I call him George. So whenever George pops up, I'm like, oh, George, what are we doing here today? Right? Befriend your emotions. It'll be a great thing, great step for you.
All right. Thank you for that excellent question. I think we only have time for about 2 more short questions. We'll get them going real quick. All right. Let's see. Back. All right. I'm gonna say 1 and then 2. We'll get both of you guys. All right.
I know you said short. This is a question for anyone and everyone. If in like 10, 15 words, if you could give a piece of advice to every single teenage girl interested in STEAM across the entire globe, not just the girls sitting in this room, what would it be?
We could just go down the line, however you guys want to do it.
I said it, yeah, be curious. Just like follow your nose, whatever tickles your curiosity, follow that. Dream and believe in yourself and just don't give up. Keep pushing and then use those that don't believe in you as fuel to prove them wrong and just keep pushing.
Never be the one who tells yourself no. Everyone else will, but you don't say it to yourself ever.
You're going to be your own worst enemy.
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You can do it, and everyone's going through it too.
And know that where you want to be, it could be a very circular path. It doesn't always need to be straightforward.
That inner voice in your head that says you can't, it lies.
All right, thank you. We've got one more question in the back, and then we'll be moving on to our hands-on segment.
This is a question for Miss Ward. Like you said, when you emancipated your family, how did you like move on from that? Like, was it hard like to do that?
Yeah, I'm a full transparent person, and I thank you for that question. The word hard was created by a man in the English language in a Webster's dictionary somewhere. And so I would have to say probably within the past, like 5 years ago is when I finally let it go. And I'm 47 now, so it was huge. It was the middle of the courtroom. The judge had subpoenaed my whole family, which is about 35, 40 people, and just said, well, no one take this child. And they all said no. And going from still being in high school at the same time in that small town, the thing about being hard, that word hard, is I just wish that people would just see it as strong, as strength. Like just to get rid of the word completely. I think we have so many different words in the English language that we don't need, right? And if we can reframe it, so looking back at it now, that's exactly where the universe was putting me. It's exactly where I needed to be here today. So everything that you go through, everything that you have, don't think of it as hard. Like, oh, this is so hard. What do I do? Be like, no, okay, this is a challenge. It's a little sticky, but I know I can get through it, right? So thank you for that question. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you to our panel. I'll let Kira. Oh, did you want to take it?
Okay. Thank you so much to our amazing speakers and also the audience for asking them really inspiring and great questions. So now we will move on to our hands-on activity, which is sponsored by Sisters in STEM or System, an organization that works towards inspiring the next generation of female STEM professionals through hands-on activities. Today we are doing a car propulsion activity where we will use a balloon to power a car. At your table, there should be a set of instructions and one kit per attendee.
Wait, don't open the kits yet. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. First of all, I see a lot of amazing networkers in the back of the room. Hello. Hi, hi, hi. Can you guys all start making your way to the table number you were assigned? So as you all know, we'll have a networking section in a little bit. So you will have networkers at your table ready to help you and guide you through this activity. But introducing this activity is Valeria Cruz. I'll let her answer or introduce herself and go through the activity. Woo!
Hi, I'm gonna start off with saying if you are missing either a bag, like if any student attendee is missing a bag or a piece of cardboard, please raise your hand and somebody will be there awaiting. Yeah. Okay, so hi, I'm Valeria Cruz. I am TitanBot CEO and I'm also the system vice president. What System is, it is a nonprofit organization that it's sisters in STEM. And so what it is it, yes, yes.
Okay, so System is a nonprofit that I co-founded with my friends last year, and so it's basically kind of trying to very similar mission to the Society of Women Engineers, but we're basically just trying to guide like young girls and just introduce you to different aspects of STEM throughout San Diego. We do a lot of hands-on activities throughout San Diego, and we're really just trying to let you know that you're not alone in your STEM journey, and we want to kind of inspire you guys to kind of get involved now. So that's System.
So the hands-on activity that we will be doing is learning about propulsion. Yeah. So it's going to look like this. This is just a very basic sample that Lily had made. It's just to learn about what propulsion is, and propulsion is the act of pushing or moving an object forward, and it can also refer to the force that is used to move something forward. The word propulsion comes from the Latin words pro meaning forward and pellere meaning to drive. A propulsion system is a machine that produces thrust to push an object forward. An example of thrust is on an airplane. Thrust is usually generated through some application of Newton's third law and the action of reaction. A gas or working liquid is accelerated by the engine, and reaction to this acceleration produces a force on the engine. So, everyone has a kit, right? Every student student attendee has a kit, correct? If not, please raise your hand if you are missing either a bag or a piece of cardboard for the hands-on activity. Next one. So in the bag, you should find the vehicle parts, which are just the materials in the bag. For the jet, we will be using a balloon, the flexible straw, and some duct tape that should be at your table. Um, the body will be the cardboard sheet, and you can make that cardboard sheet to any design that you would like. The axles will be two non-bendable straws, so it won't be the ones that are scrunchy, and two wooden skewers. The wheels will be the 4 bottle caps that are in the bag. And to connect the wheels to the axle, which is the skewers, will be the little pack of clay that is in that bag. If you're missing anything, please let somebody know. And the scissors, you will need scissors and duct tape, but those will be shared throughout the table. And in that kit, you also have a set of markers that you got at registration. You can take those home. And that washi tape in there is just so you can decorate it and make it yours. Again, that cardboard, you can cut it to any size or any shape that you would like. And yeah, just make it yours. Is everyone ready to start? I can't hear you. Yes or no? Yeah?
Once again, networkers, can you please start making your way to the tables to kind of help guide our attendees through this activity? That would be much appreciated. But yeah, so you'll see the steps in a little bit. We'll change the slide, but yeah, if you need any help, then we will have this example. I'm also a pro at this. My car went a whole 7 inches. So try and beat that. All right, we'll be walking around if you guys need any help.
All right, you guys have.
So for step one, we will be making the jet. So grab one or both of those flexible straws, place a balloon over the long end of the straw, and attach the straw and balloon so that no air can escape by wrapping with duct tape. And you will set that part aside. And the second step, you will be making the body. You can make that body however size or shape that you would like. How's it going, everybody? Is everyone almost done cutting their cardboard into the shape? Yes or no? No?
Okay, we're gonna keep speeding you guys up because lunch is almost ready. So we're gonna speed you all up. Also, we have a special announcement from our photography manager, Hayden.
Wait, what was I gonna say again?
Speakers, panelists, and networkers photo at the end after the demo.
For the speakers, panelists, and networkers, at the end of the event, after demo, we're gonna come back on stage and we're gonna have a big group picture. Thank you.
All right, you guys have like 15 minutes. If anyone needs help, let me know. Once again, I'm a pro at this activity. You can also work through lunch, depending on where you guys are, like where the status is of the activity. We were gonna try and do a little race to see whose car can go the farthest, but we'll see if we have time for that. But this is still something you can work through at lunch. But yeah, so get working. Also, how done are you guys with these steps? Do you guys still need more time? Is anyone ready to move on to these steps? Yes? No? More time? More time? Okay, more time. It has been a few minutes. Do we still need more time on steps 3 and 4? Yes? Okay. I was like 5 more minutes. 5? Yes? No? How much time do you need? Less? More? Y'all, we gotta get to lunch in like 10 minutes. 6 minutes. Will 6 minutes work? Well, steps 5 and 6, those are pretty quick, so. Huh? I have just been informed that some tables don't have scissors. Are any tables missing scissors? Yes, no? Speak now, forever hold your truth. Is that the statement? I don't know. Oh, it's peace. Is anyone missing scissors? Is okay, we have someone walking around with scissors. You guys have like 5 more minutes for this step. I know. I'm very kind.
This is your 10-minute warning. Lunch will start at 12:15. So have your cars done at 12:15. You've got 9 minutes.
Sorry, hold on. Okay, are you guys ready to move on? No? No? Okay, 5 more minutes on these steps. Yeah? Will 5 more minutes suffice? Yes? Yes? Okay, I'm taking it as a loud yes. You guys have 5 more minutes on steps. Oh wait, you're on steps 5 and 6. Okay, then yeah, you guys are fine. You guys have more time. Yeah. You guys have 8 minutes on the step. Okay, how are we doing on the activity, guys? It's about time that we start getting lunch rolling. So, if you guys aren't done, don't worry. You guys can take these kits home and finish. But so can we have all speakers, networkers, and panelists get their lunch? Are we ready for that? Okay. We'll be getting ready for that. And then also, speakers, networkers, and panelists, if you guys need your table number assignments, Jackson and myself have that information. So it should also be in your email. But if you just need me to like let you know, come up to me. I got you. But yeah, so we'll be getting ready for that soon. Start finishing up. Are you guys like almost done with your hands-on activities? Yeah? Yeah? Oh my god, yay, okay. If you guys wanna like, I don't know, see how far they can go ahead. Are they finishing? Okay. Okay. Don't worry. I believe in them. Jack. Okay, speakers, networkers, and panelists, start making your way to go get some lunch. Your attendees should be fine with finishing up the activity. But yes, please, all speakers, networkers, and panelists, please make your way to the food tables for lunch. We'll be helping you guys out with that. Also, a reminder, networkers, speakers, and panelists, if you guys need your table number assignments, let me know and I got you. Jack also has it too, so um, we'll be ready with that information. So if you need it, just let us know. We'll get you covered. Okay, I think the networkers are starting to kind of clear up. Demo teams, you guys can go get your food next. Only the demo teams. By the way, TitanBot volunteers, you guys are eating last. So, yeah, I'm sorry, that's just the way this is going to work. But if you're on demo, if you're on the demo crew, go ahead and get your food. Oh, yeah.
All right, quick announcement for all of our networkers. Anyone who doesn't know where they're supposed to be for tables, this right here is table 1. This is table 2. This is table 3. So in our front row, we have 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Yeah. What does number 1 say? Our table number 1 is Collins Aerospace. Our table number 2 is Nywick Pacific. Our table number 3 is SWE and Lockheed Martin. So that'll be our first row. Moving to our middle row, we have table number 4 right here. That's going to be Ship and Nav Air. Table number 5 is right in the middle. That's going to be SWE, UCSD, and Solar Turbines. Table 6 over here is also going to be Nywick Pacific. Table 7 over here is Intuit. All right. Now for our second to last row here. Table 8 is over here. That's going to be our Collins Aerospace and SEDS UCSD. Table 9 is going to be Parker Hannafin. Table 10 over here, that's going to be Ship, Northrop Grumman, and Apple. Table 11 is over here. This is going to be the U.S. Navy. Table 12 is over here. That is Nywick Pacific. Table 13 is over here. That is SWE. Table 14, we have Collins Aerospace. Table 15, Ship and Northrop Grumman. And then moving back to our final row. We have table 16 with Nywick Pacific. Table 17 with General Dynamics and Frontage. Table 18 with Parker Hannafin. Table 19 with Cuyamaca College and San Diego Mesa College. Table 20 with SWE, Fuse, and Cordoba Corporation. And then finally, table 21 with Ship and Northrop Grumman. Thank you.
Okay, attendees, you can go get your food in a nice, orderly fashion. And actually, wait, before you guys get up, yes, you guys are going to be getting sack lunches, okay? But before we get into that, I'm going to describe the way the networking activity is going to work. So you're going to have 4 rotations. They're going to be about 15 minutes long, okay? And so we'll have professionals from different companies sit at each table, so you kind of know who you're going to be networking with. Yeah, so feel free to ask them any questions. And yeah.
Finally, we're going to be ending our stream right about now. So I just want to throw out a general thank you to all of our online viewers. For anyone following the event through YouTube, I'd like to thank you for joining us for our 2024 online Girls Inspiring Real Leadership in STEAM conference. TitanBot and SWENext truly hopes that you will continue participating and supporting our future endeavors while inspiring students to engage in STEAM education. Thank you.
By the way, there's a maximum of 6 attendees allowed at each table, okay? So please keep